Because this was put out, what, like 2 months ago. It's about a British town that refused to allow, like government housing for like illegal immigrants in it. Because you know how like they've like the government has basically like grabbed up like hotels and houses and specifically for to house immigrants. This apparently is a town in Britain that basically said, "No, you can't use any of our buildings to house immigrants." So, well, okay. So let's take a look-see.
Walk down the road like that, she'd get stoned to death.
What really happens when a small British town is offered millions to house illegal migrants and says no?
Britain's lost control of its borders over the last 5 years.
This is Tintagel, legendary home of King Arthur, and now the front line in Britain's immigration battle.
I don't think you will find one person in this village that is happy to have them here.
The UK has allowed in millions of immigrants in just the past year or two, and with space at a premium, has resorted to housing illegal migrants in 4-star hotels.
If you come to this country...
Yeah, we've heard about this. We've heard about this, and we've had people in my streams that have argued with me about this, saying it is untrue. When we're hearing it from fellow UK strays and all sorts of media and content creators, yeah, they are doing it.
You should not be entitled to benefits.
4-star
Wait, hang on.
hotels.
If you come to this country, you should not be entitled to benefits. Maybe for a minimum of 10 years.
Now, the government has turned to this iconic Cornish town, but hotel owner John Mappin slammed the door shut and sparked a national row.
Initially I thought it was a joke.
They should be incredibly grateful.
It's a humiliation exercise.
In this video, I'll take you inside the hotel they wanted to use, speak to the locals about how they really feel, and uncover whether this refusal was about principle, profit, or something else entirely.
They should find an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and take them there.
If you like sure law so much, go to Afghanistan.
I was surprised to find that word had got out. The locals were expecting me.
Hello.
It's not that we don't like change. I think it's more the case of we don't want change.
But I've never heard anything about it would have been a good idea if the immigrants came. Almost everybody is like, oh gosh, that didn't happen, it would have ruined the place.
It's not their fault. We've let it happen, and now what do we do with it? They're not bad people.
Okay.
They're just misguided fools.
Were you happy that John Mappin said no for the Camelot Castle?
Yes, because there has to be a stop, hasn't there? But it's not the people's fault that are coming.
If you...
Okay, she's being quite generous. She is being quite generous, given what we have been seeing in the news these days. Given what content creators have been talking about that reside in Britain. She is being very nice, and bless her for it. Bless her for being nice, for having that kind heart and saying, I don't think that it's their fault. I don't think that they're bad people. She is trying to see the good in these people, and bless her for it. And unfortunately, having a marshmallow heart about this is not going to change the reality that many of these migrants don't have positive intentions. Do not treat the country that they have invaded with respect. Don't treat the people whose country they've invaded with respect. Most of them have not. And the British people themselves are the ones that are paying the price for it. The British people themselves are the ones that are being subjugated by their own government because of it. Zeb, I don't have statistics, so I'm not going to agree or disagree. I have seen plenty of content that is showcasing these migrants basically blocking off entire streets, blocking off entire parks, that, being aggressive to the native British people. attacking the native British people, you know, stalking the women, assaulting the women. There has been too much videographic evidence to substantiate this, to substantiate that most of them are. It's no, I mean that's true. But it's also the government, the party, the UK party is also not only are they bringing in a lot of people that treat the country that they have been accepted into like shit, but they're also like using up the country's resources. Don't forget, the UK is not a large country, and they're bringing in like millions of people, and they're bringing in millions of people, which is severely taxing their resources. And I mean, yeah, you're saying like you'd have a literal army of thousands if most of them were violent rapists, and you'd have an army of thousands plural. Let's be honest, the number that they've taken in that are violent and are rapists and are part of grooming gangs is way too fucking many. And even those that are not violent or rapists are still treating the country like shit. And, oh, hang on a second, chat. Sorry, I just saw a bunch of emergency lights go flying by my window, and I was wondering what was going on. But yeah, they basically, I've seen plenty of the interviews with these people in Great Britain. They're, and they state in no uncertain terms that they are looking to take over. They're looking to outbreed the native UK people. It's, they've flat out said this. That they're trying to basically effect an invasion and to outbreed the native British people, that they throw their trash wherever they choose. You have the rape and grooming gangs that we've talked about. Like, this is a serious issue, and it is basically, there's really no way to look at it other than it's been an invasion, because they're all coming in claiming to be refugees. That's the big thing. These millions of migrants that have come in are all claiming to be refugees. And I'm sorry, that doesn't fucking work, especially given the locations that they're coming from. The locations they're coming from, they are constantly saying, we're refugees. And there's millions of them coming in. And given the areas that they're coming from, it does make sense. And that's on top of the fact that when they come in, claiming they're refugees from a place that they're trying to escape from, they are actively trying to turn the UK into the shithole that they claimed that they were trying to escape from. So it's like the preponderance of evidence doesn't fucking work in this, to substantiate that, they're just like poor, helpless people just looking for a better life.
Take away the tourists, then the whole area suffers. Sticking a bunch of unemployed, mainly men, we use the term mainly men, who only get a certain amount per week to live on, it's going to decimate this area.
And also the people working, there's 30 staff members who would be... They were going to be fired for this.
Yeah, if the migrants came into the hotel, it would have been the last holiday hotel for people to come into Tintagel to stay. So there's only a couple of B&Bs, Airbnbs left, and that would have really affected the trade coming into the village. We just have day visitors instead of people coming to stay in Tintagel.
I would pay a lot of money to stay at that hotel down there, let alone to be housed there for free.
Yeah.
Wow.
Does it annoy you that sort of the liberal elite and the celebrity class, they would call your views racist?
100%. And at the end of the day, Albania's a safe country. Why are they crossing? And if you can pay 4, 5, 6, whatever it is grand to a people smuggler, then obviously when you arrive in the country, you're not destitute, are you?
Maybe after the money you've spent on the people smuggler.
Then don't spend it and stay at home.
They should find an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and take them there, house them there.
If you like Sure Auto much,
interesting take there. Very interesting take is finding, I mean, that's treading kind of close to the concept of Australia. Yeah, that's where I was going, Mechanist. That's kind of treading close to the idea of Australia, which its inception was that of a British penal colony. So, getting close to there.
Pacific Ocean and take them there, house them there.
If you like sure we'll so much, go Afghanistan.
They deserve the help.
Yes. Bingo. That man is fucking based. This man is fucking based. Because so many of them are saying, we want Sharia law. Motherfucker, you're in the UK. You want Sharia law? You go reside somewhere that possesses Sharia law. You don't go, going into another country and demanding that the country uses Sharia law, that's the definition of an invasion. That is them entering into a country specifically to turn it into your country, not you to assimilate. That is the definition of an invasion.
They deserve the help, but we need to start focusing on our own folks.
We do need to find someone with the other opinion that would have wanted the migrants to be housed there.
I don't think you will find one person in this village that is happy to have them here. We have no judgment, so to say, but it's a big ask of the government.
Are people who don't want it racist?
Not racist. If they only realise we're all human beings, aren't we? And we all...
Yeah. And I knew she was going to say no. I know he had to ask the question. Because unfortunately, from a journalistic standpoint, I wish it wasn't. But that question gets asked every time, and it shouldn't. It should not be. In journalism especially, and I'm not knocking on him for asking the question. I'm not. Basically, racism is the go-to for every journalist in existence right now. Every fucking issue that a reporter or a journalist reports on, they have to inject racism into it. And I'm fucking done. I've been done with it. I'm so fucking done with every fucking piece of news having race injected into it. I'm fucking done. And that's why in my rant during Kirsch's video yesterday, I was saying that if you are white and you are speaking in regards to another ethnicity, do not apologize. Do not qualify saying, I'm not being racist about it. Don't fucking qualify. You just say, no, I don't want them here. I think that, I don't want them here because they are not trying to assimilate into our country and to our culture. And if they have no desire to do so, then they can return back to whence they came. You are not going to turn our country into the shithole you just escaped from, you claim to have escaped from, which I'm not fucking buying, because you refuse to assimilate into our culture. It's as simple as that. There's nothing racist about it. It's about culture. Your culture, your culture that you escaped from literally drove you to flee from the country. That was, your culture is so fucking horrible and has turned your country into such a shithole that you claim that you had to flee from it. So why do you think it would be acceptable to bring that culture and transplant it into your new country that you are arriving into? Why do you think it would be acceptable to turn the country that you have arrived into the culture from which you escaped from? Unless you are trying to effect an invasion. Because that's the only way that works. The only rational reason why immigrants would come into another country and try to force their culture onto that country and to try and morph the country into your culture that you just claimed to escape from is because you are an invasion force. That is the only logical explanation.
Seek a better place to live. And that's all they're doing, isn't it?
Would you be worried about your safety as well?
Yeah. You hear all the time about all the rapes that have been happening since migrants have been around. And it would be one thing if it was the women and children. That's different. But it's not. It's a lot of men coming. There is next to
mostly
no
men.
crime here. And I would be worried.
Hello, John.
Andrew.
It's, as you guys point out, it's mostly men. I'd say the numbers is probably 95 to 97% men that are quote unquote fleeing and refugees. It's which that's not people escaping. That's an invasion force. Flat the fuck out. No matter how much the party tries to spin it, no matter how much any government around the world tries to spin it, it's an invasion force. And this is an attempt to basically reverse assimilate countries and turn them into more shitholes. It really is. There, as much as people might not want to hear it, that is what is happening. That is what is happening in so many countries around the world. The UK is not the only one. It is so many countries around the world that this is happening to.
How are you?
Good. How are you doing? Would John let me in and show me around? And if he did, what kind of luxury was really on offer behind those grand doors that the government sought out for those coming illegally into the UK?
You can't play with cultures like this. I literally, genuinely thought it was not just a joke, I thought it was a wind-up.
As you walk around here, you really get the feeling of this English majesty, and you feel like every single thing that you've pointed out to us is a vital part of English history. So
it's a
can you
beautiful
imagine
hotel.
just this being held as a migrant centre, a legal migrant centre?
Zeb, it's an excellent question. I wish I had an answer for you. I have tried to rack my brain to try and figure out what letting their population be overridden, what does the government gain from it? It's the theory is money and power. Thank you, mercenary, and welcome. There's a theory of it can start with money and power, but then what I think happens is at first is money and power, and then you have people of this culture that start integrating themselves into the government, and you start getting more of these people integrating themselves into the government, and thus that can facilitate more people coming in. It can be twisting of the laws. It can be the repression of the native peoples of whatever country that they're in, and eventually facilitate a takeover. So it's kind of like, best description I can offer it is a slow-moving coup. Which is why basically you've got people that have earwormed or Jedi mind tricked the government and saying we need to be on the right side of history. We need to basically be diverse and and this is humanitarian, and this is good karma for us. And some maybe pulled the Jedi mind trick on them, which is why they're letting it in. And of course, the thought is if they let these people in, those are votes for them so they can stay in power. But at the same time, people from these cultures are starting to integrate themselves into the government and working with their way up the governments, and more people are getting into it. And thus, they're going to be trying to facilitate a takeover of the government and start twisting things in favor of the migrants and against the native peoples, and so on and so on. Yeah, that's a good theory, Zeb. That's an excellent theory. And if things were actually done properly, you'd be correct. But it's not like, what do you want to bet that these governments kind of like tweak the rules or fuck with the rules or flat out fucking lie?
So can you imagine just this being held as a migrant centre, a legal migrant centre?
I could imagine it actually, because it's happened elsewhere. I am not against any other culture. I just favour our own. I think that we'd probably put 200, maybe 300 migrants in the hotel.
How have your staff reacted to hearing about all of this?
Well, I think they were quite shocked after they found out, because of course the government wanted to lay them all off.
I mean, it's very sad what the government
does
to
to God.
us. I'm not the only one who's been here around 20 years, and suddenly they want us to lose the job because of some other characters to come here.
We probably...
Yeah, like, what the fuck is that? The government comes in and says, we want to take over this hotel to stick migrants in here supposed refugees near, and we're just gonna lay off all your staff to do that. Like, what the actual fuck? That is insane. That the government's like, yeah, we're gonna have you lay off your workers, your British citizen workers, so we can stick a bunch of illegal immigrants into your hotel because we're a bunch of fucking pussies. Yeah, the logical answer would be to tell the British government, go fuck yourselves, get the fuck out of my hotel.
Biggest employer in this area, so a lot of people rely on this business to function.
Well, thanks to Mr. Mappin, we are safe here.
And do you get the feeling that John hates immigrants and foreign people?
No, there's quite few of us who came here, as a part of the EU, and we have a job here, so...
Like, duh, their population is crashing. They think they need to import workers instead of encouraging baby making.
Maybe, who knows? But this man is the perfect example of migration done properly. This man is not native to the UK. You can tell by his accent. This man is not native to the UK. He immigrated from, I'm not sure what country he immigrated from. He immigrated to the UK. And what did he do? He integrated himself into their culture. He didn't try to impose his native culture on them. He integrated. He became a part of the UK culture. And that kind of migration is fine. There's absolutely nothing wrong with migrants going to a country for a better life for themselves and the migrants integrating and assimilating themselves into that culture of their new home. Like, this has been said by myself and other people from the start. There's zero objection to migrants moving to another country and they integrate into the culture, they assimilate to the culture, not the other way around. Nobody has an issue with that. And yeah, like Eki, I wasn't sure. I was trying to place his accent.
Few of us who came here, as a part of the EU, and we have a job here.
I mean, it kind of sounds Russian. Yeah, I was like Slavic in nature. I was thinking maybe Russian or in Slavic. Yeah. He obviously came here. He obviously came to the UK and integrated himself into their culture. He did not try to foist his culture onto that or try and tell the people of the UK, you have to change your culture to fit mine. He integrated himself. And yes, you could say the same about me. When I moved to Canada, I didn't come into Canada saying, I'm a fucking American. You gotta do things the way I say because I'm a fucking American and I'm better than you. No. I basically integrated myself into the Canadian culture. Granted, the Canadian and American cultures are not too different, realistically speaking, but it's not like I came in acting like I'm a big American and, I'm so much better than you and you guys should do what I say because I'm American. I didn't do that shit. That's what integration and assimilation is. That's what you need to do. That is what proper migration does. That's what proper migration, proper assimilation, and for the benefit of the country you are moving into looks like.
So, Mr. Mapper is a very friendly person and everyone is welcome.
English people are extremely welcoming. Okay, but they only ask for very simple things. They want you to come legally. They want you to be respectful of the culture. Okay? They want you to integrate, be helpful, pay your taxes. If you do that, and I never met nothing but kindness. But then to people to come and take advantage of that kindness is not right. It cannot be you just step your foot and you get everything for free. And you prioritized over the local people.
Yes.
For me, it's insane. I want to do everything possible to protect this country, to keep it what it is. I think British people have a lot to be proud about, and I want to be proud with them.
It was a very, very shocking thing, and I think it was shocking also for the local community to find out, because as you'll see in the village of Tintagel, this is a tiny community of about 1,500 people. Well, if you have 300 or 200 or even 100 extra people, you would notice that. If you had an extra 30 people.
Yeah. Because I experienced that back in Newfoundland. When I used to live in Newfoundland, I lived in a town not quite as small as this, but you know, the area I lived in was not a large population by any stretch. Like I'd say I'd say the population would be about the size of a decent sized suburb in the United States. Population of where I live was about the size of a decent sized, like medium to large sized suburb is what the population. And this was like a major town in Newfoundland that I was living in. And when the migrants started coming in, you knew. When all the migrants started coming into Newfoundland, you knew immediately. You saw it. Like immediately. Yeah. Yeah. Daedric? We do not call for that. We don't. Okay? We do not wish harm or death upon people in my chat. I will say it as an expression of anger if something is just frustrating, I may say something, but we don't advocate for the harm or death of anybody. We don't do that because we are better in this chat. That's why. But yeah, when you know, in Newfoundland, when a shit ton of migrants came in, oh, you fucking knew it. Like I said, before I left, before I moved from Newfoundland, like it's fine, Daedric. It's fine. I know you will. I saw like all the fast food joints, all migrants. Gas stations, all migrants. Like the Walmart, get that way. Like I was seeing it big time before I left Newfoundland to move where I did. So yeah, when you are in a small town, when you are in a small population and you get several hundred migrants moving in, you notice it instantaneously. Absolutely.
Here, you would actually notice it. What also happens is they leak out into the society because they have security for these buildings, but the security is to stop the public coming in. It is not to stop the migrants leaving. And so I said, is there a natural leakage? I don't know how they're supposed to do checks on these people because they dump all their passports over the side of the boat, as far as I can understand. So you can only imagine what would happen if Tintagel had gotten the reputation for basically being either a temporary or permanent migrant camp.
Yeah. Tintagel would have turned into a shithole if they'd allowed that. That beautiful postcard little town would have become a shithole if they had allowed the hotel to become basically a refugee housing facility. It would have spread to the entire town, and their tourism would have died, which probably would have killed the town because I'm guessing that town thrives on tourism. It would have killed tourism in the town, and the town probably would have shut down. And people would have had to have leave because there would have been no business. Everybody would have had to leave, move somewhere else, and then the government would swoop in, snap up all those homes, and give them to the migrants. And it would basically become a migrant village. Which maybe that's what they were hoping for. Maybe that's what the party was hoping for. That they could get migrants into the hotel, that the migrants would leak out of the hotel and start causing problems in the town, and the town would no longer be an attractive tourist destination. The tourist dollars would dry up. People would not be able to work there, so they'd have to move, find jobs elsewhere. The government would just snap up their homes at pennies on the dollar, turn them into migrant housing facilities, and the whole fucking town would turn into a migrant camp. Who is to say that that was not the intention of the party in the first place? Sounds crazy, but honestly, do you put it past them? I don't.